Good evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spell Sword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, former agent of the Emperor, current head of the Blades in Vardenfell. Right now, we're trying to find a rather elusive smuggler's den.
I can help you with the bandits. I know just where they are. A little cave called Zanispilu, just across the Odai River and south over the hills. I can stay here and guard the stronghold while you fight, or we can fight together as long as your gold is good.
I've already paid you enough. So, I was trying to think about this a little bit. They say across the Odai River into the south and in the mountains, so we've already checked the river and we've gone on this side. I'm gonna guess that it's probably somewhere in this area, but it might be deeper than I had originally thought. So what I'm going to do is follow the path, and we'll see what's left after we just naturally walk whatever pathways there are. Sorry, my system volume's very loud. So I have to quit out of the game to fix that. Not exactly the most dramatic opening, but it'll save my ears in a couple of hours. This may be an abbreviated episode just because I'm doing a recording or live broadcast immediately after this, but I will try and do as much as I can. So we've already checked out those doors over here, and again, the idea is I'll be following this path, which we've sort of already gone through. So it's not looking too optimistic, but the idea is I'll be following this path until I can't see the hills anymore. Materials here that are sometimes useful. Of course, the big problem I have here is that it's not so clear that I'm going south anymore. So even though we're heading to Satanin, I want to at least eliminate the possibilities inside here. I would have been very upset because I believe the last time I stopped right at that crossroads. Yeah, I mean, at this point I'm pretty much just directly going to Satan, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm really learning anything new here. Although I suppose from Satanin I can just follow the coast. Clearly following the road was a bad idea. As always, I'm interested in seeing if I can just clear up that last little bit of the map. So again here, I'm just trying to find something of a credible path back to areas that I may not have checked out yet. I think I'll check the inside of the hills before I check the outer area. It feels like I can just go up the Odai River if I feel that desperate. I think we've seen that door before, but let's gotcha. even sneaking. I'm this mad at you. I've been here already. My egg alone. Inside here, I may be wrong in saying that I've been here before. Definitely looks like it. In some cases, at least.
This is the end of you, Swit!
The Locked Room by Porbert Litmuli. Yana was precisely the kind of student her mentor, Arthkamu, despised, the professional amateur. He enjoyed all the criminal types who were his usual pupils at the Stronghold, from the common burglar to the much more sophisticated blackmailers, children and young people with strong career ambitions, which the art and science of lockpicking could facilitate. They were always interested in simple solutions, the easy way, but people like Yana were always looking for exceptions, possibilities, exotica. For pragmatists like Arthkamu, it was intensely vexing. The Redguard maiden would spend hours in front of a lock prodding at it with her wires and picks, flirting with the key pins and driver pins, exploring the hull with a sort of casual fascination that no delinquent possesses. Long after her fellow students had opened their test locks and moved on, Yana was still playing with hers. The fact that she always opened it eventually, no matter how advanced of a lock it was, irked Arthkamu even further. "You're making things much too difficult," he would roar, boxing her ears. "Speed is of the essence, not merely technical know-how. I swear that if I put the key to the lock right in front of you, you'd never get around to opening it." Yana would bear Arthkamu's abuse philosophically. She had, after all, paid him in advance. Speed was doubtless an important factor for the picker trying to get somewhere he wasn't supposed to go with the city guard on patrol behind him, but Yana knew it wouldn't apply to her. She merely wanted the knowledge. Arthkamu did everything he could think of to encourage Yana to move faster. She seemed to perversely thrive on his physical and verbal blows, spending more and more time on each lock, learning its idiosyncrasies and personality. Finally, he could bear it no longer. Very late one afternoon, after Yana had dawdled over a perfectly ordinary lock, he grabbed the girl by the ear and dragged her into a room in the Stronghold far from the other students, an area they had always been forbidden to visit. The room was completely barren, except for one large crate in the center. There were no windows and no other door except for the one leading in. Arthkamu slammed his student against the crate and closed the door behind her. There was a distinct click of the lock. "This is the test for my advanced students," he laughed, behind the door. "See if you can escape." Yana smiled and began her usual slow process of massaging the lock, gaining information. After a few minutes had gone by, she heard Arthkamu's voice call again from behind the door. "Perhaps I should mention that this is a test of speed. You see the crate behind you? It contains a vampire ancient who has been locked in here for many months. It is absolutely ravenous. In a few minutes' time, the sun will have completely set, and if you have not opened the door, you'll be nothing but a bloodless husk." Yana considered only for a moment whether Arthkamu was joking or not. She knew he was an evil, horrible man, but to resort to murder to teach his pupil? The moment she heard a rustling in the crate, any doubts she had were erased. Ignoring all her usual explorations, she jammed her wire into the lock, thrust the pegs against the pressure plate, and shoved open the door. Arthkamu stood in the hallway beyond, laughing cruelly. So now you've learned the value of fast work. Yana fled from Arthkamu's stronghold, fighting back her tears. He was certain that she would never return to his tutelage, but he considered that he had taught her at last a very valuable lesson. When she did return the next morning, Arthkamu registered no surprise, but inside he was seething. "I'll be leaving shortly," she explained quietly, "but I believe I've developed a new type of lock, and I'd be grateful if you'd give me your opinion of it." Arthkamu shrugged and asked her to present her design. "I was wondering if I might use the vampire room and install the lock. I think it would be better if I demonstrated it." Arthkamu was dubious, but the prospect of the tiresome girl leaving at last put him in an excellent and even indulgent mood. He agreed to give her access to the room. For all morning and most of the afternoon she worked near the slumbering vampire, removing the old lock and adding her new prototype. Finally, she asked her old master to take a look. He studied the lock with an expert eye and found little to be impressed with. "This is the first and only pick-proof lock," Yana explained. "The only way to open it is to have the right key." Arthkamu scoffed and let Yana close the door, shutting him in the room. The door clicked and he began to go to work. To his dismay, the lock was much more difficult than he thought it would be. He tried all his methods to force it and found that he had to resort to his hated student's method of careful and thorough exploration. "I need to leave now," called Yana on the other side of the door. "I'm going to bring the city guard to the stronghold. I know that it's against the rules, but I really think it's for the welfare of the villagers not to have a hungry vampire on the loose. It's getting dark, and even though you weren't able to unlock the door, the vampire might be less proud about using a key to escape. Remember when you said, if I put the key into the lock right in front of you, you'll never get around to opening it?" "Wait!" Arthkamu yelled back. "I'll use the key! Where is it? You forgot to give it to me!" But there was no reply, only the sound of footfall disappearing down the corridor beyond the door. Arthkamu began to work harder on the lock, but his hands were shaking with fear. With no windows, it was impossible to tell how late it was getting to be. Were minutes that were flying by, or hours? He only knew that the vampire ancient would know. The tools could not stand very much twisting and tapping from Arthkamu's hysterical hands. The wire snapped in the keyhole. Just like a student, Arthkamu screamed and pounded on the door, but he knew that no one would possibly hear him. It was while sucking in his breath to scream again that he heard the distinct creak of the crate opening behind him. The vampire ancient regarded the master locksmith with insane, hungry eyes and flew at him in a frenzy. Before Arthkamu died, he saw it. On the chain that had been placed around the vampire's neck while it had been sleeping was a key.
So the fact that there are bracers on the ground makes me think that I have been here before. But obviously there are other characters that I haven't seen. little more certain that I've been here, but again, I see something like a gem. I start to doubt myself. It's not immediately clear as to whether or not I've completely eliminated the threat, but I don't see any more bandits. I'll maybe do one last check up here just to double check, or just to be certain. Then, of course, the question is whether or not I need to report back to the mercenary that I hired, or the Hollow. So theoretically, I can get back to my stronghold this way. Of course, the other challenge is we spent so much time looking for that spot that I've forgotten what else I wanted to try and do.
Maros Gamayan, the leader of those bandits, is dead.
$1,000 gold for that guy can give me specific directions, but apparently is able to identify when the leader is dead. This is why you don't leave moon sugar hanging out at the top. Another mountain. So before I run into any difficulty with the local merchants, let's get rid of the contraband.
I'm very happy to make your acquaintance.
Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really no trouble at all.
Our sugar is yours, friend.
While I'm at it, let's see if I can get rid of some of these heavier potions. Probably left a bunch on the table there, but
Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the game.
it saves me some trouble.
Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really no trouble.
How wonderful.
Did you want to discuss your stronghold?
More specifically, the bandits.
I hope the hired guard was helpful in rooting out the bandits.
It wasn't.
I'll give the orders to put the finishing touches on your stronghold.
Thank you.
I've given the orders to begin the final stages of your stronghold, House Father.
Alright, if memory serves, I needed to do something for the Ordinators, but while I'm here, let's head home and get some work done.
Is there something I can do for you, Outlander?
Greetings, Outlander. Don't I know?
I want to see if I can find that net. As always, we'll see if we can do any restore magic, but I don't think I picked up anything that will help with that. Let's see if there's anything we can do with these. I'm going to leave the racer plumes alone because I know they're kind of going to be around forever. Oh, and the crush fiber. I'm going to leave that aside because that'll be helpful for some personality potions when the time comes. Alright. So if I can, ash salts, drain agility first. Fair enough. Resist Cure Blight. Now I see that's why this is a hard one for me to get rid of. Alright, now one of the mushrooms. There we go. Drain fatigue and poison. And water walking. Really should bring in more mushrooms. Now I know we're not going to be able to do anything with the ash yam, so... so fatigue, magicka, and health. Alright. these scrolls at some point. And I have a few magic items that are taking up space. Yes, and I have a new book for the library. Again, I'm running into problems sorting everything, but we'll worry about that next time. Excuse me.
I feel as though I've just awakened from a dream, a terrible dream of the 6th house.
May you find welcome under the sun by sky. We greet you.
What do you want, Outlander?
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
Alright, there's probably two things I want to try and do. One, sell off what I can in terms of items, but number two, see if I can get some more repair. The Journeyman's Armor Hammer to do my own work here. Drat. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be able to sell that. Alright, well, let's see if I can add. Even the tongs won't, let's just see if I can get a steep discount.
What did I do to deserve this honor?
Just bought some supplies, man. Alright, so I have to put those back in my home before too long. I'd rather not carry the extra weight if I don't have to. Apparently this is all stuff I want to keep. Alright, let's focus on potions then. I really need to start drinking these. I think instead of sleeping tonight, we'll go on an extended journey. Well, I do get use out of cure paralysis and cure poison. I want to try and keep the lighter weight potions. It's not the most exciting. Oh, they don't have any money. Well,
Hello, Outlander.
looks like I might be carrying all of this after all. I'll see what I can sell in the other cities while I,
3 blessings, Sarah.
I can spare a few moments.
I feel this land suits you. I feel it.
alright, so let's see what we're up to. It's starting to get a little cluttered. I think I wrote some notes. Just one second. Well, I might have, but nothing relevant to my current notes. Alright, so, I can go to Margon if I have nothing else. I think I still need to turn this in. Alright, that I can work with. But because I'm... Alright, because I'm going to be heading to Vivek at the end of this, I think I'm going to break what I said, which was, spending some long time just working down my my magicka. I'm actually gonna take a trip by Siltstrider. Or, well, I guess I don't have to because I've got the Mage's Guild for that.
Welcome, friend. You're nearly a legend around.
You're in good company, friend. Welcome.
Here, of course, I get a chance to sell off some of the potions. be watching that number a little bit closer. It's a start.
Impressive. These clothes suit you well.
Thank you. All right. So I need to take the road to Margan. Now the other question would be
What is it, friend?
whether or not they actually attack me. Because I think an unprovoked fight is maybe not something I'd actually want to do. The name of the stronghold in Terrace Manor. Not exactly the best environment for me finding places that are off the path, but I'm just assuming that that's not the matter. Don't want to spend too much time in Balisra, but let's take a minute and see if they know anything about the stronghold.
You're not supposed to be here, Lalu.
Looks like this is exactly where I want to be.
What do you want? Yes, Outlander, what do you want?
You will die.
Give him some modesty.
Okay, the gain knowledge from this book, your long blade is increased to 100. Alright, Morningstar, Book 1 of 2920, The Last Year of the First Era, by Karlovac Townway. First Morningstar, 2920, Mournhold Morrowind. Almalexia lay in her bed of fur, dreaming. Not until the sun burned through her window, infusing the light of the wood and flesh colors of her chamber in a milky glow, did she open her eyes. It was quiet and serene, a stunning reverse of the flavor of her dreams, and so full of blood and celebration. For a few moments she simply stared at the ceiling, trying to sort through her visions. In the courtyard of her palace was a boiling pool which steamed in the coolness of the winter morning. At the wave of her hand, it cleared, and she saw the face and form of her lover, Vivek, in his study to the north. She did not want to speak right away. He looked so handsome in his dark red robes, writing his poetry as he did every morning. Vivek, she said, and he raised his head in a smile, looking at her face from across thousands of miles. I have seen a vision at the end of the war. After 80 years, I don't think anyone can imagine an end, said Vivek with a smile, but he grew serious, trusting Almalexia's prophecies. Who will win, Morrowind or the Cyrodiilic Empire? Without Sothasil and Morrowind, we will lose, she replied. My intelligence tells me that the Empire will strike us to the north in early springtide, by first seed at the latest. Could you go to Artaeum and convince him to return? I'll leave today, she said simply. Fourth Morningstar, 2920, Gideon, Black Marsh. The Empress paced around her cell. Wintertide gave her wasteful energy, while in the summer she would merely sit by her window and be grateful for each breath of stale swamp wind that came to cool her. Across the room, her unfinished tapestry of a dance at the Imperial Court seemed to mock her. She ripped it from its frame, tearing the pieces apart as they drifted to the floor. Until she laughed at her own useless gesture of defiance, she would have plenty of time to repair it and to craft 100 more. The Emperor had locked her up in Castle Gioves 7 years ago, and he would likely keep her there until he or she died. With a sigh, she pulled the cord to call her knight, Zook. He appeared at the door within minutes, fully uniformed as befitted an Imperial guard. Most of the native Kothringi tribesmen of the Black Marsh preferred to go about naked, but Zook had taken a positive delight to fashion. His silver reflective skin was scarcely visible, only on his face, neck, and hands. Your Imperial Highness, he said with a bow. Zook, said Empress Tavia, I'm bored. Let's discuss methods of assassinating my husband today. 14th Morningstar, 2920, the Imperial City, Cyrodiil. The chimes proclaiming Southwind's prayer echoed through the wide boulevards and gardens of the Imperial City, calling to all to their temples. The Emperor Remen III always attended a service at the Temple of the One, while his son and heir, Prince Juliek, found it more political to attend a service at a different temple each year for each religious holiday. This year it was the Cathedral Benevolence of Mara. The Cathedral Benevolence of Mara. The Benevolence's services were mercifully short, but it was not until well after noon that the Emperor was able to return to the palace. By then, the arena combatants were impatiently waiting for the start of the ceremony. The crowd was far less restless, as the potentate Versaduche had arranged for a demonstration from a troupe of Khajiiti acrobats. Your religion is so much more convenient than mine, said the Emperor to his potentate by way of an apology. What is the first game? A one-on-one battle between two able warriors, said the potentate, his scaly skin catching the sun as he rose, armed befitting their culture. Sounds good, said the Emperor as he clapped his hands. Let the sport commence. As soon as he saw the two warriors enter the arena to the roar of the crowd, Emperor Remen III remembered that he had agreed to this several months before and had forgotten about it. One combatant was the potentate's son, Severian Chorak, a glistening ivory-yellow eel gripping his katana and his wakizashi with thin, deceptively weak-looking arms. The other was the Emperor's son, Prince Juliak, in ebony armor with a savage orcish helm, shield, and longsword at his side. "This will be fascinating to watch," hissed the potentate, a wide grin across his narrow face. "I don't know if I've ever seen a Cyrodiil fight in Akavir like this. Usually it's army against army. At last we can settle which philosophy is better, to create armor to combat swords as your people do, or to create swords to combat armor as mine do." No one in the crowd, aside from a few scattered Akavari councillors and the potentate himself, wanted Severian Chorak to win, but there was a collective intake of breath at the sight of his graceful movements. His sword seemed to be a part of him, a tail coming from his arms to match the one behind him. It was a trick of counterbalance, allowing the young serpent man to roll into a circle and to spin into the center of the ring in an offensive position. The prince had to plod forward in the less impressive traditional way. As they sprang at each other, the crowd bellowed with delight. The Akaviri was like a moon in orbit around the prince, effortlessly springing over his shoulder to attempt a blow from behind, but the prince whirled around quickly to block with his shield. His counterstrike met only air as his foe fell flat to the ground and slithered between his legs, tripping him. The prince fell to the ground with a resounding crash. Metal and air melted together as Severian Chorak rained strike after strike upon the prince, who blocked every one with his shield. "We don't have shields in our culture," murmured Veziduche to the Emperor. "It seems strange to my boy, I imagine. In our country, we don't want to get hit. If you don't want to get hit, you move out of the way." When Severian Chorak was rearing back to begin another series of blinding attacks, the prince kicked at his tail, sending him falling back momentarily. In an instant he had rebounded, but the prince was also back on his feet. The two circled one another until the snake man spun forward and katana extended. The prince saw his foe's plan and blocked this katana with his longsword and the wakizashi with his shield. Its short punching blade impaled itself in the metal, and Severian Chorak was thrown off balance. The prince's long blade slashed across Akavir's chest, and the sudden intense pain caused him to drop both his weapons. In a moment it was over. Severian Chorak was prostrate in the dust with the prince's longsword at his throat. "The game is over," shouted the Emperor, barely heard over the applause of the stadium. The prince grinned and helped Severian Chorak up and over to a healer. The Emperor clapped his potentate on the back, feeling relieved. He had not realized when the fight had begun how little chance he had given his son at victory. "He'll make a fine warrior," said Versaduce, "and a great emperor." "Just remember," laughed the Emperor, "you Akaviri have a lot of showy moves, but if just one of our strikes comes through, it's all over for you." "Oh, I'll remember that," said the potentate. Remen thought about that comment for the rest of the games, and had trouble fully enjoying himself. Could the potentate be another enemy, just as the Empress had turned out to be? The matter would bear watching. 21st Morningstar, 2920, Mournhold, Morrowind. "Why don't you wear that green gown I gave you?" asked the Duke of Mournhold, watching the young maiden put on her clothes. "It doesn't fit," smiled Turala, and you know I like red." "It doesn't fit because you're getting fat," laughed the Duke, pulling her down on the bed, kissing her breasts and the pouch of her stomach. She laughed at the tickles, but pulled herself up, wrapping the red robe around her. "I'm round like a woman should be," said Turala. "Will I see you tomorrow?" "No," said the Duke. "I must entertain Vivek tomorrow, and the next day the Duke of Ebonheart is coming. Do you know, I never really appreciated Almalexia and her political skills until she left." "It's the same with me," smiled Turala. "You will only appreciate me when I'm gone." "That's not true at all," snorted the Duke. "I appreciate you now." Turala allowed the Duke one last kiss before she was out the door. She kept thinking about what he said. Would he appreciate her more or less when he knew that she was getting fat because she was carrying his child? Would he appreciate her enough to marry her? The year continues, and suns dawn. Midyear, Book 6 of 2920, The Last Year of the First Era, by Karlovac Townway. Second to Midyear, 2920, Balmora, Morrowind. "The Imperial Army is gathered to the south," said Cassir. They are 2 weeks' march from Ald Ival and Lake, sorry, I'm bad with these, Coronati, heavily armored. Vivek nodded. Ald Ival and his sister city on the other side of the lake, Ald Malak, were strategically important fortresses. He'd been expecting a move against them for some time. His captain pulled down a map of southwestern Morrowind from the wall and smoothed it out, fighting a gentle summer sea breeze wafting in from the open window. "They were heavily armored, you say," said the captain. "Yes, sir," said Cassier. "They were camped out near Bethel Grey in the Heartland, and I saw nothing but ebony, dwarven, and daedric armor, fine weaponry, and siege equipment." "How about spellcasters and boats?" said Vivek. "A horde of battle mages," replied Cassier, "but no boats. As heavily armored as they are, it will take them at least 2 weeks, like you said, to get from Bethel Gary to Lake Coranti." Vivek studied the map carefully. "They'd be dragged down in the bogs if they tried to circle around Aldmarak from the north, so they must be planning to cross the straits here and take Ald Aival, and then they'd proceed around the lake to the east and take Aldmarak from the south." "They'll be vulnerable along the straits," said the captain, "provided that we strike when they are more than halfway across and can't retreat back to the Heartland." "Your intelligence has once again served us well," said Vivek, smiling to Cassier. We'll beat back the Imperial aggressors yet again." 3rd of mid-year, 2920, Bethel Gare Cyrodiil. "Will you be returning back this way after your victory?" asked Lord Bethel. Prince Juliek barely paid the man any attention. He was focused on the army packing its camp. It was a cool morning in the forest, but there were no clouds. All the makings of a hot afternoon march, particularly in such heavy armor. "If we return shortly, it will be because of defeat," said the prince. He could see down in the meadow the potentate of Versaduche paying his lordship's steward for the use of the village's food, wine, and whores. An army was an expensive thing, for certs. "My prince," said Lord Bethel with concern, "is your army beginning a march due east? That will just lead you to the shores of Lake Coranti. You'll want to go southeast to get to the straits." "You just make certain your merchants get their share of our gold," said the prince with a grin. "Let me worry about my army's direction." 16th mid-year, 2920, Lake Coranti, Morrowind. Vivek stared across the blue expanse of the lake, seeing his reflection and the reflection of his army in the cool blue waters. What he did not see was the Imperial army's reflection. They must have reached the straits by now, bearing any mishaps in the forest. Tall, feather-thin lake trees block much of his view of the straits, but an army, particularly one clad in slow-moving heavy armor, could not move invisibly, silently. "Let me see the map again," he called to his captain. "Is there no other way that they could approach? We have sentries posted in the swamps to the north in case they're fool enough to go and be bogged under," said the captain. "We should at least hear about it, but there's no other way across the lake except through the straits." Vivek looked down again at his reflection, which seemed to be distorting his image, mocking him, and then he looked back on the map. "Spy," said Vivek, calling Cassier over. "When you said that the army had a horde of battle mages, what made you so certain that they were battle mages?" "They were wearing grey robes with mystical insignia on them," explained Cassier. "I figured that they were mages. Why else would such a vast number travel with the army? They couldn't have all been healers." "You fool!" roared Vivek. "They're mystics schooled in the art of alteration. They've cast a spell of water breathing on the entire army." Vivek ran to a new vantage point where he could see the north across the lake, though it was but a small shadow on the horizon. They could see gouts of flame from an assault on Aldmarak. Vivek bellowed with fury as his captain got to work at once redirecting the army to circle the lake and defend the castle. "Return to Dwenin," said Vivek flatly to Cassier before he rode off to join the battle. "Your services are no longer needed or wanted." It was already too late when Morrowind armor neared Aldmarak. It had been taken by the Imperial army. 19th of mid-year, 2920, the Imperial city of Cyrodiil. The potentate arrived in the Imperial city amid great fanfare, the streets lined with men and women cheering him as the symbol of the taking of Aldmarak. Truth be told, a greater number would have turned out had the prince returned, and Versaduche knew it. Still, it pleased him to no end. Never before had the citizens of Tamriel cheered the arrival of an Akaviri into their land. The Emperor, Raman III, greeted him with a warm embrace, and then tore into the letter that he had brought from the prince. "I don't understand," he said at last, still joyous but equally confused. "You went under the lake?" "Aldmarak is a very well-fortified fortress," explained the potentate. "As I might add, the army of Morrowind is rediscovered now that they are on the outside. To take it, we had to attack by surprise, and with our soldiery in the sturdiest of armor. By casting the spell that allowed us to breathe underwater, we were able to travel faster than Vivek would have guessed, the weight of the armor made less by the aquatic surroundings, and attacked from the water-browned west side of the fortress, where the defenses were at their weakest." "Brilliant," said the Emperor crowed. "You're a wondrous tactician, Versaduche. If your fathers had been as good at this as you are, Tamriel would be an Akaviri domain." The potentate had not planned to take credit for Prince Juliek's design, but on the Emperor's reference to his people's fiasco of an invasion 216 years ago, he made up his mind. He smiled modestly and soaked up the praise. 21 mid-year, 2920, Aldmarac and Morrowind. Severian Chorak slithered to the wall and watched through the arrow slit the Morrowind army retreating back to the forestland between the swamps and the castle grounds. It seemed like the ideal opportunity strike, I think. Perhaps the forests could be burned and the army within them. Perhaps, with Vivek in their enemies' hands, the army would allow them possession of Ald Iluval as well. He suggested these ideas to the prince. What you seem to be forgetting, laughed Prince Juliak, is that I gave my word that no harm to the army, or to their commanders during the truce negotiations. Do you not have honor during warfare on Akavir? My prince, I was born here in Tamriel. I have never been to my people's home, replied the Snake Man. But even so, your ways are strange to me. You expected no quarter when I gave you none when we fought in the Imperial Arena 5 months ago. That was a game, replied the prince, before nodding to the steward to let the Dunmer battle chief in. Juliak had never seen Vivek before, but he had heard that he was a living god. What came before him was but a man, a powerfully built man, handsome and with an intelligent face, but a man nonetheless. The prince was pleased. A man he could speak with, but not a god. Greetings, my worthy adversary, said Vivek. We seem to be at an impasse. Not necessarily, said the prince. You don't want to give us Morrowind, and I can't fault you for that, but I must have your coastline to protect the Empire from overseas aggressions, and certain key strategic border castles, such as this one, as well as Ald Umbiel, Tel Arun, Ald Lambasi, and Tel Mothrivia. In return? Asked Vivek. In return? Laughed Severian Chorak. You forget we are the victors here, not you. In return, said Prince Juliak carefully, there will be no Imperial attacks on Morrowind unless in return to an attack by you. You will be protected from invaders by the Imperial Navy, and your land may expand by taking certain estates in Black Marsh, whichever you choose, provided they are not needed by the Empire. A reasonable offer, said Vivek after a pause. You must forgive me, I am unused to Cyrodiils who offer something in return for what they take. May I have a few days to decide? We will meet again in a week's time, said the prince, smiling. In the meantime, if your army provokes no attacks on mine, we are at peace. Vivek left the prince's chamber, feeling that Almalexia was right. The war was at an end. This prince would make an excellent emperor. The years continued in Sun's height.
I think we've already read the book of Dawn and Dusk. Might as well get a few souvenirs while I'm here. Still enough for the walk home. It's very tempting to try and take these two, but
Is there something I can do for you?
nice hat.
Is there something I can do for you?
Well, that was surprisingly painless. I suppose it was Crassus that wanted us to do that, so there's not necessarily any advantage to me walking back. Well, I'll still walk back just to see if I can sell off some of this. Actually, I know I can't, so... I will use my recall. Just double check to see whether or not there's any restore magicka. There probably won't be. If I can do a fortify prison, well, I need stone floor for that, so the rest I think might have a, so I might be able to do something with the rest. So let's see if I've got drain agility, resist magicka, or cure blight disease. So obviously when I find something that I can do drain agility with, that's a fairly high priority to mix with the ash salts. Alright, let's do some restore fatigue with the Kwama egg just so I can get rid of that. Alright, if I can do drains, I want to prioritize that. unlikely this will work, but let's just double check. Let's drain willpower and levitate. It's one more than I thought I would get. 2 more. I don't think the yam's gonna do anything for me. Yeah, I don't have any more drains left, so let's try and do some paralysis if I can. Alright, so the book that I sort of looted is a multi-parter. We'll see whether or not I can get away stacking it. Alright. Okay, so I can sell the Book of Dawn and Dusk. Can actually try to sell a lot of this, but whether or not I'll succeed is a whole other matter. And some of this might work. Oh, we don't need the ebony longsword. We are obviously not going to be able to sell that right away. And if memory serves, actually, I've also got some ebony arrows. No, we gotta line it up properly. I don't get it. I hate that I'm spending so much time on this. was a waste of magicka, but I won't be too mad about it. I shouldn't have messed with what I already did. Oh, close. And I messed it up again. I am content. Hopefully nobody will ever record this in the tale of Caius. This extended period of just sorting arrows.
3 blessings. A warm welcome to the Yuffie.
What is it, James?
I don't know if she has money yet. She does. Alright. I'm guessing it's a little too much to hope to sell that. Yeah. Alright, so... Let's try for 1,500.
Do you want something?
Actually, before I go any further,
I suppose.
I should see whether or not I can, I feel like if I put on the, nope, I can put on the extravagant pants below, too.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I don't have much hope of being able to sell a lot of this to the Fighters Guild, but we'll try and clear out what we can.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
It's a start. Yeah, I'll hang on to him. It's not that big of an inconvenience. Although I should find out where all this, So it doesn't look like I'm wearing a belt, which is surprising because I feel like I should be. I'm wondering if I wound up selling, because I'm pretty sure I had a belt that gave me a sort of a flat bonus. That's a shame if I blew that.
How wonderful. Welcome, Outlander.
Let's just see if there's any other jobs while I'm waiting. Right, so this will take us a while to do. Now we'll go to Vivek the old-fashioned way.
Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really no trouble at all.
You seem like very good company.
Welcome, friend. The day is yours. What shall we talk about?
I hate you. I'm tempted to just check my Discord messages while I do this, except that I know the second I do, she's gonna walk away.
want that there.
Where's that slave? Here not long ago.
Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the company.
I was hoping telekinesis would let me open the door. Thank God. See if I can sell them anything first.
Pleasure.
A hail and hearty welcome.
Greetings and salutations.
Pleasure is all mine.
I probably should have sold Fury instead of the 2 ebony throwing stars. I was a little too eager to get rid of that. Let's have a little bit more to work with. Let's see what the Ordinators wanted. So you need to find the path from Ebonheart to Satanine. I wish I had the confidence to go from one canton to another, but I don't. I do, however, have the confidence to leap off of cantons. I'm trying to remember where my other contact is. I think she might be on one of the higher levels now that I think of it.
Not now, Outlander.
Is there something I can do for you? This is a wondrous encounter.
Did you find out what was going on at Odrinian? You killed the Tilvani and you rescued Vedleia Othril? This is a great service to House Lalu. Please take these 1,000 drakes for the job well done.
What about more business?
Today's business involves Yingling Half-Troll's prized game rats.
Tell me more.
Yingling Half-Troll raises game rats in Yingling Manor here in Vivek. One of his rivals snuck 3 blighted rats into his breeding pen. Go to Yingling Manor and kill the blighted rats, but spare his prized game rats. The game rats are used to being handled and should ignore you. The blighted rats are wild and should attack you. Here's the key to Yingling's basement. It's in the plaza of St. Olm's Cantum, near the statue of St. Olm's, southeast of here. Just go south of the arena.
Alright, we'll do that before... We'll do that before we head out.
What do you want, Outlander?
Did you teach Baden Indris his lesson? Is House Redoran fleeing from your wrath, sweetie? So Indris Manor is no more. Good work, Kais. Please take these 1,000 drakes from House Lathu.
What about further advancement?
I can't advance you any more, Dumpling. You'll need to see Duke Vedem Dren himself, or to be a counselor or even a Grandmaster. The Duke is staying in Ebonheart this year. He was Grandmaster of House Lalu, you know, before he inherited his title.
Any other business?
It would be a good idea to win the support of another councilman, my sweet. Of all the councilmen, I believe only Drambero has the courage to support an Outlander. Drambero is very secretive. He lives somewhere here in Vivek.
I see this land suits you. We welcome you. I see this land suits you.
I feel like that's a name I've encountered before, but... I seem to remember the smith doesn't really have...
A warm welcome to you.
Yeah, that's not really gonna get me anything. Alright, so we're looking for St. Olm's now. It's not that far out of the way. counter seems like something that might be on the top level. I might even be able to turn it in before I head to my other task.
I see this land suits you.
I'm CV Caius. I'm Falgor. Don't worry, Vivek can be confusing for us, and we live here. Is there some specific place you want, or someone in particular that you're trying to find?
Just the rats.
Greetings and
You choose to
salutations.
share your time with me. You humble me.
I don't know what I did to get on your good side, but, oh. That's why.
A sincere welcome to you, May.
I'm just gonna pull back to make sure I don't hit the wrong ones. In fact, before I go too much further, this strikes me as the sort of thing that can go very wrong very quickly. Get back in. Go.
I am honored.
Yes, I could have taken the stairs down, but would that have given me practice in acrobatics? Oh, well, neither will this, so...
Is there something you need?
Wrong side.
We're
Hail,
watching.
friend.
I'm very happy to make your
That you'll
acquaintance.
find especially useful outlander.
Where did he come from?
So what did you do about the game rats?
What do you think I did?
Yingling just told me that you killed the blighted rats. Since it looks like you spared most of the game rats, Yingling told me to pay you 1,000 drakes.
Most. I saved all of them.
The business of Vardenfell is the ebony trade.
Tell me more.
The Zanib have been trying to sell ebony. Go speak with the Zanib camp and make sure that they only sell ebony through us. Zanib camp is somewhere southwest of Voss in the Grazelands region. I'll mark it on your map since it's easy to get lost in the Grazelands.
Thanks. I'm not going to be doing that for a while, though. So I should caution that I'll probably be wrapping up before too long in order to do this other live broadcast. I know that means that this will be a shorter episode, but I'm trying not to let a slow start to one thing get in the way of... I don't want to cause cascading failures due to getting a late start on one recording. So we'll walk to Satan until we find the bridge that he was talking about. All right. South in the middle of the swamps until I reach an island. Turns out those are good for poisons, and those are easy to sell, so... Well, there's the island. I wish I had a way of getting there without getting wet. The Rove of Saint roars from Asimanu. Alright. ignoring God all day, damn it. Excuse me, sorry about that. I do want to check out that lower level, but breath. One of the reasons I repair my own armor is so that I don't have to have blacksmiths looking at me wondering why I'm using high quality armor to fight what appear to be fish marks and rat bites. Alright, so this was a bit of a dud. There doesn't actually seem to be the... I mean, this seemed to be the island, but... Probably just double check all these little corners that I haven't investigated, because this definitely seems to fit the description. Wait a minute. I don't remember actually seeing something there. Something's coming after me. I remember being in a spot like this before where the rewards weren't all that great. But I almost drowned multiple times. I should have paid attention to that potion. Alright, there might have been something interesting there for me, but that's an investigation for another time. This makes me worried we're gonna finish the way we started, which is looking for a difficult to find location. I'm gonna take a quick look at the map to see if there's any other islands in those swamps. That is the printed map. Or on my iPad in this case, but so looks like there are 3 islands. Oh, that is not easy to see. And then there's also to the left, but that doesn't seem to fit the other descriptions, so one here, and there's a third that apparently I haven't investigated yet. Stay away. So apparently it's supposed to be due south. I don't see it though. No. Oh. Looks like this is a new place. There it is. So is this the... I'm not sure. I think there's a website. Well, I don't know. This should be easy to find if you search for Morrowind map. But so on the map, there's Satanin, just directly south. There's like a picture of a boat just directly south of that was the island that I was looking at before. To the right of that, there's a long, skinny one which we visited, but it turns out the little tiny dot, which you can't actually see here. But I'm pretty sure this is where you're supposed to be. Alright, Roving Roars. I technically should be finishing in 3 minutes, but we'll see this thing through to the end. Not a jump I want to make yet. So we'll clear out what we can, and if I have to, I'll leap over the pit. Ah. I was trying to be sneaky. safe to say if I go down there, I'm not coming back up. Well, not without assistance from Magicka, so let's try and make this happen. Alright, fine. Surprise. I guess it was the 0.6. Well, I should at least get rid of the 0.8s first. Wow, that was quite the hit. I'd love to get the Infernal collection, but a bit short on weight. I'm hoping we get the issues with the Ordinators sorted out before they find their comrades without pants. And it's another nice chance for me to just recover some weight with well, nuts. That was a standard restore magicka, not a... bad time for, never mind. You know, any one of these other people had some outfits. Alright, fair enough.
Stupid!
It's the 6th house nudist colony. So I gotta be careful about the levitate, otherwise I'm gonna wind up in the lava. You know, it'll really annoy them. If I was braver, I would have picked up the hammer and pretended it was a bell. They're not really worth that much, but they add up if I sell them. I think I'll go without for now. But there is treasure. I suppose the logic is if I can get up here, should be able to float up to get the treasure too. That or there's just some other area that I haven't checked out yet. Wait, was it the robe of St. Roris? Did I get that wrong? The Rove? Good God. Alright, well, we found it. But it does invite the question, what was behind that higher level lock? was thinking I might be able to get to a higher level. Ah, well then. No! Alright. One more. What are you gonna do now, mud crab? Try and make as much progress as I can to Ebonheart. Ah! So we'll, hang on, I need to talk to the Ordinators first, not Ebonheart. I am naturally tempted to use the boat service, but we'll enjoy a nice evening stroll through Vivek.
Watch yourself. We'll have no trouble here.
So if memory serves, I had a key that I didn't realize I had. Should be much easier to find them. I think there might be a connection between the bull netch and the...
Speak, traveler. Speak, traveler.
Please leave. These are my private quarters.
But
you have the robe of St. Roris the Martyr. It is the robe that he wore when he was slain and thus blessed with his blood. Will you hand over the robe now?
Yes, here it is.
Good. Yes, I will place this robe somewhere safe. I will speak with Beryl Sala and see to it that the Ordinators take their orders from the temple.
Tell me more about them.
The 4 orders of Ordinators answer to Alma Rula and Almalexia.
Where is that?
Blessed Almalexia, the Warden, is one of the 3 immortal god kings of Morrowind, a pillar of the Tribunal, and the patron of healers and teachers.
And a place, apparently.
The Tribunal Temple is the native religion of civilized Morrowind. They worship 3 god kings, Almalexia, Sothasil, and Vivek, who are known together as the Tribunal. We usually just call it the Temple. Lord Canon Tholers, Serioni thanked me for delivering the robe of St. Rorus and told me that he would speak with Beryl Sala.
Go ahead.
So now I'm going to try and get to Ebonheart to speak with the Duke.
Not now, Outlander. I will read my rights and duty.
This is one too far. I need to go left. Following this, it may not be a bad idea for me to try and either deal with the Oracle, the location that I'm supposed to try and find, or to investigate the different tribes in the east. See what they have to say about
Do you have something to say?
my trial. I wasn't going to start anything if it didn't.
I'm listening. Yes?
Can I help you out? Do you need something?
So many people in this game just standing in doorways asking if I need help. There's one type of help I need from them, and they'll never give it to me.
want something, friend?
A warm welcome to you.
I'm surprised to see you here again. Do you have some business for me?
I do.
I've heard that the Archcanon will speak with Beryl Sala and the Ordinators. Perhaps he can convince them to leave House Lalu's business alone. Please accept my gratitude.
Well, I appreciate your gratitude and I admire your facial hair, but let's talk about advancement.
Yes, you clearly deserve the rank of councilman. Congratulations, Caius.
Anything else? Thank you. Now is this the... I guess this is the top. Just said I am.
To be a councilman in anything other than name, you must win control of the Kimona Tong from my brother, Orvis Dren.
Really?
The Kimona Tong is a traditional thieves guild of Morrowind. It predates the Empire's Thieves Guild, but it is more brutal and takes every chance to interfere with the Empire. If you are to be the Grand Master of House Lalu in anything but name, you must reach an accommodation with my brother, Orvis Dren, who leads the Kimona Tong. Spare his life if you can.
Tell me more about Orvis.
He is my brother and the head of the Kimona Tong. You may find him on the Dren plantation between Pelagiad and Suran. Spare his life if you can.
Cool. And on that note, I think we will finish that for today. I do feel like I should be doing more of the main story, but we'll figure that out next time. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.